Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Luke and I do perfume reviews. If you're new here, please consider subscribing if you like this type of content. If you're a regular subscriber of mine, welcome back. I urge you to like this video and leave a comment if you wish to. I really enjoy reading your comments and I always respond. So in today's video, I decided to talk about modern classics. So modern classics are perfumes that have been released for, at least 10 years. So they've had enough time to become a classic, but they can't be considered vintage yet. And vintage is everything that's over 20 years old. That's the consensus. Some people agree, some people disagree. So in today's video, I've got a selection of 5 different modern classics from my collection. The oldest one is from 1997 and the newest one is, I think, from 2016. So we've got a variety of different fragrances, some orientals, some vanilla, some florals, some cheap, some very expensive. It's a mishmash of different kinds of fragrances. And I've also displayed some samples of some other modern classic fragrances that I have in my sample drawer. So we have Black Opium, which is, even though I don't like it, it's still a modern classic because it's been around for a while and it's loved by so many people. And another one that's also a modern classic, well, that one could even be a classic, but it's from the late 90s. And that is J'adore from Dior. And unfortunately on my skin, it smells very soapy and very shampooey. But I can still appreciate it for what it is. And the last one is L'Interdit from Givenchy, which is more of a modern release. I think it was released in 2018. And I think it has the potential of becoming a modern classic in a few years' time. It's more of a bubblegummy tuberose, so it's not really to my taste, but I can appreciate it and I know it's liked by so many people. The first perfume that I want to talk about is the original Lolita Lempicka from 1997. This bottle is actually a different version. It's not the one from 1997. This is a 2020 re-release, but it's supposed to smell exactly the same as the original. And it doesn't. It's not exactly the same, but the vibe is there. Lolita Lempicka was created by 2 perfumers, Annick Manado, who also created Hypnotic Poison, and Christian Dussoulier. Lolita Lempicka is a sweet perfume with a twist. It doesn't smell generic. It's a sweet, powdery, fruity, a tad spicy perfume with some vanilla. The main note is definitely licorice, and the cherry is also quite prominent, especially in the opening. And especially with this newer version, the cherry is stronger than the cherry in the original. The original is more about the iris, in my opinion, but the scent profile is still the same. Once it dries down, it gets quite powdery because of the violet and the iris. There's also a note of ivy, which makes the scent just a little green and unusual. It's such a unique and bold scent, and it has stood the test of time. I think it smells modern, recognizable, and very unique, even in 2023. It's a masterpiece, and the scent profile is truly something special. I think that so many brands have copied this scent profile since the release of Lolita Lempicka, because it is a modern classic, even a timeless classic. It's a perfume that has stood the test of time, and I think it still smells amazing in 2023, and it deserves to be called a modern classic. And what's even better is the fact that this is still very much available and affordable if you know where to look. Oh, and the performance is not excellent, but it's very, very good. It lasts all day, but if you want others to smell you, you might want to reapply every 4 to 5 hours or so, because it tends to become a skin scent in some 3 or 4 hours. So that was Lolita Lempicka. Let's move on. The next one I want to talk about is Hypnose from Lancome. It was released in 2005. so it can be considered a modern classic. I've talked about it on my channel before, so I'll just briefly mention it. It's a vanilla scent with a passion flower note, jasmine and some vetiver in the base. The passion flower gives it a bit of a fruity sourness and makes it interesting and unique. The dry down is your typical sweet, almost custardy vanilla. It's very sweet and powdery, yet it never becomes quite a gourmand. It's a beautiful scent, and I think it's elegant despite being sweet. Some people think this is a mature scent and they already consider it dated, but I disagree. I think this is a perfume that has stood the test of time and it's still amazing. This is probably my fourth or maybe even my fifth bottle. I don't even count anymore. There are rumours that this is getting discontinued, but from what I gather, I think it's still readily available, at least online, but it has started disappearing from your physical perfume shops and perfume stores and department stores and so on. So if you want to get yourself a bottle, do so while you still can. Next up, we've got none other than Coco Mademoiselle from Chanel. It was released in 2001 and it's been a massive bestseller ever since. It's probably the most sought after perfume from Chanel, and I do love the original Coco, and I also really like Coco Mademoiselle, but the original Coco will always be my favourite fragrance from Chanel, but Coco Mademoiselle also deserves a place in my collection because I think it smells absolutely incredible and I still smell it on people all the time. It's still incredibly popular, at least where I live. So I think we can conclude that this one is a modern classic. The nose behind it was Jacques Polge, and the scent is truly a masterpiece. It's the perfect combination of patchouli, orange, rose, and vanilla. The scent is just unforgettable. It opens very citrusy, very zesty, and also crisp. I mainly detect the sweet orange in the opening. The middle notes or the heart is floral. It consists of ylang ylang, rose, jasmine, and some other flowers that I can't really smell, to be honest. And then we have the base, which is what really defines Coco Mademoiselle, in my opinion. And it's an ambery patchouli base with a lot of musk and just enough sweet vanilla to sweeten it up a bit. I think it's just the perfect balance between that earthiness from the patchouli and the sweetness and fruitiness from the fruity notes and the vanilla. And it makes it very elegant, very classy, yet also modern and just a bit playful at the same time. It can be used during the day or on a night out. In my opinion, any occasion goes. This is a very versatile scent. You can wear it anytime. As I said, it's a very distinct scent, and unfortunately, none of the dupes that I tried don't replace the original for me. Some dupes are very close, but nothing smells quite like it. And don't get me wrong, I do love a good dupe, and I'll even show you one in this video. So this is not due to me being a perfume snob, but it's just my preference. I prefer to have the real Coco Mademoiselle over some inexpensive dupe. I had the one from Lidl, I think it's called Madame Glamour, and honestly, it just didn't smell great on my skin. It was super screechy and synthetic smelling, so I ended up using it as a room spray. Some people may be satisfied with a dupe and cannot possibly imagine paying the Chanel price for a scent they can get for £10, but it's just a matter of preference. So maybe just a few words about the performance. On me, this is extremely potent and long-lasting. It lasts around 12 hours on me, and even if I take a shower in the evening, I will still smell it on my skin. So the longevity is amazing. and it really sticks to your skin like glue. You won't get it off unless you take a shower and really scrub it off. And the sillage is also great for at least 4 to 5 hours, and then it becomes more of a skin scent. But you do get whiffs of it throughout the day, especially if you move and even if you sweat. So what I wanted to say is that even though this is a new batch, and even though lots of people complain about the performance of this fragrance, I can only speak for myself, and on me, this performs excellently. So yes, I do recommend it. Even if you want to buy the new version, I think it still smells amazing. So that was Coco Mademoiselle from Chanel. And next up, we've got Oud Bouquet from Lancome. And I'm pretty sure everyone knows about this perfume by now. It had its moment a couple of years ago. Everyone on social media was talking about it. It seems to have become a modern classic. Everyone still loves it. Well, not everyone, but it has become a modern classic in my humble opinion. It came out in 2014 as a limited edition that was only available in Harrods, if I'm not mistaken. And it also used to come in a beautiful golden bottle, and now it comes in a more generic looking bottle. But even this bottle, I think it still looks absolutely luxurious, and it feels very sturdy, and it's a very heavy bottle, and it also has a magnetic cap. As for the scent, it's a modern oriental, a sweet take on a classic rose and oud combination, which is so typical of Middle Eastern perfumes. Oud Bouquet is very sweet, but also very, very woody, or oudy if you want. The rose is the star of the show, and it's not your typical rose. This is a jammy rose, this is a sweet rose, but it's also quite oriental and deep, and it makes the fragrance smell amazing. So in my opinion, the rose is the strongest note in this composition, but the oud and the gourmand notes are also very potent. The opening is woody, and the oud in the opening almost smells like gasoline for a few seconds, but that goes away in a minute. And then you get the rose and all the sweet notes, so the rose, the vanilla and the praline. And I have to admit, this is a very opulent and very even overpowering perfume, so it can be a bit much for me most days. And I can only use it when it's very cold outside. Otherwise, it's just too overwhelming, it's too much, and it will suffocate me and everyone else around me. This is truly one of the strongest perfumes in my collection. It's so strong that I oversprayed it once, I think, and it was just overwhelming. So I had to take a shower. It was so overpowering. So I would say no more than 5 sprays with this one. If you do more than 5 sprays, it might be too much. And this is coming from me. I'm someone who does 15, 20 plus sprays. So if I say don't overspray it, I mean it. So the longevity and the sillage are incredible. Another thing I have to mention is the nose behind this perfume, who is Fabrice Pellegrin. And I think he also created some other amazing creations. So in a nutshell, Oud Bouquet is an absolute modern classic. It's such a rich, deep and dense rose oud vanilla scent. I think it's a must-have for someone who loves oud, who loves rose and who loves vanilla. If you don't like the note of oud, or if you don't like woody perfumes or gourmand perfumes, I suggest that you avoid this one because it's really strong and it's really potent, and I think it's the strongest non-vintage perfume in my collection. So if I don't consider my vintage powerhouse classics, which I'm planning to do an entire video on, so on my strongest vintage powerhouse fragrances. So if you take those out of my collection, Oud Bouquet is a winner. It's my strongest perfume. So the next fragrance that I want to talk about is actually a cheapie. And I'm talking about Rare Pearls from Avon. And this one was released in 2004. And I've known about this fragrance for a very long time, but I just never decided to get it. And I'm glad I finally did, because this is a beautiful white floral scent with magnolia, honey, some woody notes and musk. It's a classic white floral, it's elegant, but it doesn't smell overly expensive because it's a cheapie from Avon. But it's one of the better ones from Avon. Avon has lots of different fragrances. Some of them are amazing, some of them smell very cheap, at least to my nose. So you have to know which ones to buy. And this one is amazing. It's not alcoholic, as you would expect from an Avon perfume, and it does smell a lot like pure poison in the air when you spray it on. If you smell it up close, it might not smell very much like pure poison because it has that honeyed magnolia note, and the woody notes are also very potent. But in the air, the scent profile to me is very reminiscent of pure poison. Now, whether this is a dupe or not, that's debatable, but it's definitely a beautiful white floral perfume that opens citrusy and clean with fresh white florals, mainly magnolia and jasmine, and it does get warmer, it gets a little bit powdery, a little bit musky, and it has this beautiful honeyed floral sweetness which reminds me of pure poison. So the vibe this scent gives me is the same vibe that pure poison gives me. And pure poison, unfortunately, as much as I used to love it, does not last on me, and it doesn't perform. I mean, it does last, but it doesn't project at all. So I think it's not worth paying the Dior price for something that basically performs worse than a body spray, at least in my opinion. So Rare Pearls is a great substitute for pure poison. For me, I'm not saying it's an exact dupe. I'm not saying you will like it and it will replace pure poison for you. As you know, Avon perfumes are either a hit or a miss for me and for many other people. They can work with your skin chemistry, or they can smell absolutely terrible, like a chemical mess. So this one smells great on me, but some other Avon perfumes that so many people love, including Far Away, which is a very nice vanilla scent, but on me, it just smells synthetic, and I cannot stand it when I spray it on my skin. But when I spray it in the air, it's absolutely beautiful. So Rare Pearls can be considered a modern classic because it's been around since 2004. And it still seems to be loved by many people because it's still in production. It hasn't been discontinued. So that's all I wanted to say about Rare Pearls. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I really hope to see you in one of my next videos. So until next time, bye.